What is going on, grinders? It's the weekend. It's the Crunch Time crew. It's a TWT Sunday. Tim, Will, TJ, or TJ Will Tim, no matter how you slice it. TWT, the winning team, is in the building. Thank you guys for joining us. It's Sunday. We've got a fair amount of baseball games, and it's just so excited to be able to get in and talk with you beautiful people. Tim, what's going on in your world on an Easter Sunday? Happy Easter to everybody.
Yeah, happy Easter for those who celebrate. Yeah, definitely. Normally we do a whole bunch of stuff on Easter, but my wife had a pretty massive knee surgery, so we're just cooking some ham at home, and that's about it. But yeah, it's quite the great sports weekend. All these, we got NASCAR stuff, we got the Elite Eight still going on, we got baseball, we got NBA later. So yeah, it's really it's a pretty awesome time of year for sports.
And don't forget about the UFL. I mean, we got the XFL and the United Sports that combined. I actually am going to try to watch some of these games, Tim. I want to see if the competition has, come up a little bit. I do think it's good to see some of these young guys go out there and older guys play in this league. I'm hoping it sticks around, and it's not going to be the NFL. It's never going to be the NFL. But, I mean, if you can get some good quality football games, while we kind of got some downtime, that may get really interesting. TJ, over to you. Different Easter for you. You have a little bundle of joy that's sitting at home this year versus last year, so I'm sure it's slightly different. She's not old enough to start pulling on your coattail for Easter baskets and stuff like that yet, but she will. TJ, what's going on?
Not too much. It's been an interesting weeks or 5 days so far. It seems like one night she sleeps literally like a baby the entire night and just goes all the way through. And we get great sleeps. And then the next it's crying. And so last night she was just hungry the entire night. And it was a very confusing experience because we'd feed, we'd burp, and then try and put her back to bed because, everything was done. And she'd start crying again. We couldn't figure out why. And it's because she was still hungry, and she was hungry like literally all night long. So it was an interesting experience. And I'll tell you, after 3 straight nights of leading the mini max for about half the night and then not holding on, I'm hungry for a GPP win too.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, man. You were mentioning that your night, and all I can think was all night long, all night. Anyway, sorry, a little sidetrack on a little old school jam there. Tim, we're going to get into cash. I'm assuming, Tim, you are looking at FanDuel and DraftKings today. Is that the case? I know yesterday, man, we had this weird, stupid slate, and so FanDuel was just out of it. But today, we're pretty synced up. Let's talk about cash games. We'll start with FanDuel just because we get one pitcher there, and then we'll move over to DraftKings.
Yeah, so just, bottom line for, just across the board, pitching is really, really, really bad today. Real significant drop off in terms of talent over the last 2 days of MLB. It's really disgusting and scary for me to recommend Eric Fetty in cash games on FanDuel at 6,900. He is rating out as the best points per dollar play on both our lineup H2 projections and Derek Carty's the bat projection system. So that would be where I would start. I mean, the other thing is this slate is absolutely loaded with bats. So if you take that $6,900 savings, you get tons of salary left over to pay out for any of the bats that you want. If you don't want to go Fetty, which I completely understand why you wouldn't, because it's kind of terrifying. I think that you could go with Jack Flaherty, which is also pretty gross. And he's at 9K on FanDuel. Again, really good matchup. So I think it's, certainly an option to go Flaherty. You could also go Chris Sale, and I think you could also go Bailey Ober, even though he's not projecting as well as I thought he would be. He's 9,800. I would go as, Cheese cored him on both FanDuel and DK. So he almost feels like the safest, quote unquote, safest pitcher on the slate. It's just, it's tough, but I'm going to be going Fetty in single entry and in cash on FanDuel and just loading up on all the bats because there isn't a lot of difference between $6,900 Fetty and some of these other guys that are on the slate.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Kevin Gausman would have been the guy, but for those of you that don't know, even though he's priced up, at least on DraftKings, he's priced up. He's going to be on a pitch count today. I mean, he only had one spring training start. He was injured, so he's just behind the 8 ball this season. He absolutely would have been our top choice. I am going to mention this for Fetty only because I still hang out with KBO a bit, Tim, and I do follow KBO pretty heavily because I play props for it like mostly every day it's available. Eric Fetty was in KBO last year. Eric Fetty was really good in KBO last season, had about a 30% K rate. Now, I'm not saying Eric Fetty is bringing over a 30% K rate, but in the KBO, it's a very high contact league. Yeah, and all the hitters aren't going to be high level, but imagine trying to pitch past Ichiro Suzuki every single at bat. That's mostly KBO. I'm actually expecting him to be way better long term than he was before he left, Tim. So I actually think Fetty could be okay today. If he comes out and gets 7 strikeouts, like it's not going to shock me because in KBO he was pretty dominant for what it's worth. He played for the NC Dinos. Anyway, that's just a small tidbit for those of you that know I'm still following KBO. We got D Fresh 121 said Dan Straley was good at KBO. Dan Straley was okay in KBO in my opinion. Fresh, he didn't have the strikeout upside as Fetty did. He would still get touched up a bit even in KBO. Sorry, didn't mean to go down a rabbit hole, Tim. I love baseball so much I'm still following. TJ, tournament pitchers, what are we doing? Almost sounds like Fetty could be tournament also, but he's projected pretty well. What are we doing?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep a fairly tight pitching pool today, but then getting overweight on the guys that are projected for low ownership, underweight on the guys who are projected for high ownership. And so Jack Flaherty is looking like my biggest fade of the slate. Eric Fetty, that ownership is low enough and he's cheap enough on DraftKings, and then low enough on FanDuel that I'm perfectly fine with still playing him. But on FanDuel, I'd probably X out Flaherty. Sale, I think, has too big of a ceiling to X out. Like, I think you got to keep Sale in there just because he could strike out 10 players today. And if that happens, you absolutely need him. Other than that, on FanDuel, there's really only 2 players in particular I'm looking at heavily for tournaments, and they are my 2 favorite tournament plays on the slate. One, Bailey Ober, like Tim said, projecting poorly. Cheese has got him tagged. We're projecting him for 6% ownership on FanDuel right now. Absolutely love getting up to him. And then if you want a cheaper option at low ownership, it's Brady Singer for me, 7,900. The Twins are going to be somewhat chalky. Singer is sometimes very good. Sometimes he's horrific. The Twins, same thing. They strike out a ton, but they also have power. If you could, that could absolutely go either way, but at low ownership in tournaments, I'm willing to take that.
Okay, sounds good, TJ. Here we go, Tim. We're going to a hybrid here, catcher first base. A lot of times on FanDuel, people tend to shy away from catchers. I'm in the camp that I still like to play them. Maybe not over first baseman, but I will include them in the utility, so forth and so on. Tim, how are you feeling about that? And are you getting any catchers? And I know you're mostly probably primarily playing first baseman.
Yeah, I am definitely primarily playing first baseman today, but I don't disagree with your statement. I don't think there's anything wrong in particular with getting to catchers on FanDuel at certain times, and there certainly are good tournament catchers on FanDuel. As terms of cash games, though, I'm not playing catcher. I'm going to be playing a first baseman. I'm going to go right back to Encarnacion Strand at 2,900 for the Reds. They're once again in a really good matchup. They busted pretty bad yesterday, but I'm willing to go back. He's definitely my favorite cash game first baseman. And then Alex Kirilloff at 2,700. I think he's a fantastic play. I'm just a little bit concerned about potential pinch hit risk. That's the only reason why I'm not playing him in cash. But, in tournaments or single entry, I think he's absolutely fine. I think Connor Joe at 2,500 is another salary saving option. So all three of those guys, you could play in cash. I think I'm not going to play Kirilloff though, just because they do have pitch hit risk. And then, obviously at the high end, you got guys like a Pete Alonso, I think is a really strong play. And I think Rhys Hoskins is a strong play as well. But those two guys are just for tournament only, not cash game.
Yeah, sounds good, Tim. And I mean, you mentioned Connor Joe yesterday, and I think Connor Joe had a pretty good day yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. And once again, he continues to be cheap around the industry. So love that call. TJ, what are we doing here at Catcher First Base for tournaments?
7 likes away from Spidey Bomb number 1. So keep smashing that like button and we'll get our second Spidey Bomb at 75 likes, third Spidey Bomb at 100 likes. We already got almost 300 people watching on YouTube, over 500 in total across the site. So keep smashing that like button. We got Spidey Bombs coming soon. One of them is here at first base. My favorite tournament on this play on the slate by far, it's Matt Olson. He smashes lefties just as well as he does righties. I'm not worried about Ranger Suarez. Matt Olson at incredibly low ownership on both sites. 2.5% is what we're projecting on FanDuel. Favorite tournament play on the slate at any position. I like Rhys Hoskins. He's been absolutely pumping the ball so far this year. Vladdy Guerrero Jr., I don't mind whatsoever. But Spidey Bomb number 1 and my second favorite play at the position behind Matt Olson, it is Ryan Mountcastle at 3,100 on FanDuel, projected for less than 10% ownership. Spidey Bomb number 1. We had a real good day with home run bets yesterday. I ended up with 5 of them hitting. And so we had some parlays cooking. So had a nice 4-figure day with the parlays. Hopefully we can keep that going today. And the first one in, it's Ryan Mountcastle.
All right. Sounds good, TJ. How many likes are we at total, TJ?
We are at, for some reason, YouTube doesn't update for me anymore. And so I have to refresh, but we are all the way up to 71 now. So we're already only 4 likes away from Spidey Bomb number 2, 29 likes away from Spidey Bomb number 3. So keep smashing that like button, and we're going to have lots of home run calls for the people.
Sounds good. And we're past our K of the bidet. I typically give that out at 51 likes. And so we're past that. We're going with Tyler McGill, less than 50.5 pitching outs. Once again, Tyler McGill, I think he's an interesting young pitcher, but man, does his pitch count get run up. So I really like him less than 15.5 pitching outs. Go and get that on your favorite sports book of choice. All right, here we go. Tim, back over to you. We're at second base. What are we doing with second base? Had I listened to myself yesterday, Tim, we talked about spinning up. Ozzie Albies went out there and just smashed, and I almost played him. I was like, no, not going to play the Albies. Had I played some Albies, I actually might have taken down that tournament the more I think about it. Either way, Tim, second base, what are we doing?
Yeah, so for cash games, it's probably Jonathan India. Again, we want to attack Irwin with these right-handed bats. So I think it's 3,100 Jonathan India. I'm not completely convinced that's the best play. I do like Gleyber Torres quite a bit as well for only $100 more. France is reverse splits. So I do want to get exposure to these Yankees righties. So I may play Torres over India, but I think the safer way to go is India, and then Edouard Julien again 2,900. He would be cash game viable, but again, I think he does come with a little bit of pinch hit risk. So I'm probably going to be staying away from the Twins in cash games, but I think they're certainly viable in GPPs. And then I do like Brandon Lau quite a bit also. He's 3,500. He's probably too expensive for cash games, but if you have the money, I think he's worth a look and certainly worthy as like a one-off or as part of a stack in single entry tournaments.
Yeah, man, sounds good. I mean, the last time we liked Brandon Lau, Tim, Brandon Lau hit a home run for us. If he can repeat that, we're going to be feeling fantastic. So love that call there. TJ, over to you. What are you getting in at second base?
Our guy J3 is in chat, so I couldn't let second base pass without suggesting Edouard Julien, but I agree with Tim. There's definitely some pitch hit risk there. John Birdie is now in the Yankees lineup because Anthony Volpe got scratched. I think he's somewhat interesting if you need a cheapie. Gleyber Torres is my favorite at this position by far, though, especially on FanDuel, where he's only 3,200. I think that's way too cheap for him. He would definitely be my first choice there. Christopher Morel with second base eligibility at 3,200, I think is a great tournament pivot. But if I need to go cheap and I need to save, Oliver Dunn at 2K batting fifth against Miguel, I'm in. Like I don't mind 2K Oliver Dunn at all.
Okay, sounds good. Man, TJ, you caught me off guard there. I thought you'd have a few more. We're waiting for TJ to get spicy. That's what we're waiting on. We're waiting for the spice. I'm sure the spice is coming at some point. Maybe it's not. That's okay.
Ozzy Albies. I love Ozzy Albies if you're spending up. Forgot to mention him, but Ozzy Albies is one of my favorite tournament plays as well. Surprise, Atlanta's my top stack on the board.
Yeah, listen, watch Rich repeat. You remember last season when we started out the season, guys, you almost could play Atlanta every day, and people didn't really catch on for a couple weeks. Atlanta just kept scoring runs, and nobody played them. Tim, do you remember that? And if you just played the Braves, a couple just every day, at some point you were going to lap the field. I think this season so far that's probably been Arizona in this weird series in the Dodgers, because the Dodgers have gotten like really weird pitchers against them. But Arizona's been smashing. Cincinnati's been very close. So we'll see how this shakes out. Tim, moving to third base. What are we doing?
Yeah, for cash games, I think it's pretty easy on FanDuel. 2,800 Candelario going against Irvin, like we talked about. We want to, get these righties against him. So I think he's pretty easily the cash game play. John Birdie just got added to the Yankees lineup. He is extremely cheap. He's got a shortstop, second base, third base eligibility. I think at 2,300, I think he's interesting because I do like this Yankees team quite a bit today, and so he could be in for some opportunities to produce fantasy points at an extremely cheap price tag. So I don't mind Birdie at all. I don't mind getting to Jake Berger at 3,300. Gets the platoon advantage. I think that's a pretty affordable price for him. And then Austin Riley, if you have the money, is I think the top overall third baseman. And third base, other than Candelario, is not a position that I absolutely love today. So it could be, you could just go up to Riley. Right now I have Candelario, but I may switch that to Austin Riley.
I had to drop the Spidey Bomb graphic a little early, give a little tease, because Tim did in fact mention Spidey Bomb number 2. We're over 75 likes. We're only 10 away from 100. So keep getting that like button up for Spidey Bomb number 3, but it is Jake Berger for Miami today. Love him at the third base position. He's knocking one out of the park. Spidey Bomb number 2. And of course, we are very close to Spidey Bomb number 3. Dean in chat says he needs 8 guaranteed dongs, please. I don't know quite about guaranteed, but I can give you 8 I feel really good about. I will drop multiple of my home run bets totaling up to 8 if we can get up to 125 likes as well. So third Spidey Bomb at 100 likes, and if we get up to 125, I will drop my 8 favorite home run bets, courtesy Dean, because I'm feeling good today, and it's Easter. So gotta do what we gotta do for the people.
I've got 8 guaranteed dongs. Dean, go outside and ring your doorbell 8 times. You're guaranteed to hear the dong. All right, here we go. Very corny joke there, dad joke. TJ, since we're already at third, I know you said you like Jake Berger for a home run. Anybody else you like at third base for tournaments?
Heimer Candelario, definitely my favorite play on the slate. Ezekiel Duran, another guy I really like today if you need to save salary. And then for the guys above 3K, it's Austin Riley, Jake Berger, Josh Jung. I absolutely love anytime he faces a lefty, so I'm going to be getting on him again today, batting third against Wicks. And that's pretty much it here for me at third. Don't like other outside of guys in stacks. Like I'll get some Oswaldo Cabrera on my Yankee stacks. But I did almost forget somebody incredibly important because he's only first base eligible on FanDuel, but he is third base eligible on DraftKings, but he is third base eligible on FanDuel, and he's cheap at only 2,800. We got Spidey Bomb number 3 because we're already over 100 likes. The people are crushing it. And Spidey Bomb number 3, it's Justin Turner. He's going to be knocking his very first dong out of the park for the Blue Jays today. Batting third, always has smashed lefties. Going to continue to do so again today. Justin Turner, Spidey Bomb number 3. So we're at Ryan Mountcastle, Jake Berger, Justin Turner. And when we get at 125 likes, I will drop 5 more home run bets in chat.
Sounds good, man. I got a guy here. Potagen Stoner says he's staying for the dad jokes. Listen, if you guys like dad jokes, I'll pull them out. Guy goes to a restaurant on the moon. He gives a rave review. They said, well, hey, how did you like it? He said it was really good food, no atmosphere. All right, Tim, moving to shortstop. What are we doing at one of the most interesting positions in baseball, I would always say?
Yeah, I don't really love that. I don't really love the position today. I think it's pretty weak. Other than, you got the obvious like Ellie De La Cruz, but like he's super expensive. He's 3,700 on FanDuel, so I'm not going to be doing that in cash. I think you could do Gunnar Henderson at 3,400. But my favorite cash game shortstop is CJ Abrams, batting leadoff, 3K. I think that's a very, 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 very fair price tag for a road one hitter in cash. So I think CJ Abrams is my favorite overall. And then if you don't have the money, you could conceivably do the whole John Birdie thing again, or Willie Castro for really, really super cheap. But I think CJ Abrams is the correct shortstop play in cash.
Yeah, love Abrams today for sure. And he really hasn't been priced up yet, Tim. Even though he's been leading off, the price continues to remain pretty reasonable. So love that call. TJ, shortstop. What are we doing here for tournaments?
Couldn't agree more with Tim that Abrams is by far the top play at the position today, and it's quite weak. For tournaments, though, I think paying up for Gunnar Henderson in a lefty-lefty spot is a great tournament play. He's perfectly fine against lefties. I'm not worried about Detmers and the Angels bullpen, and so Gunnar Henderson, probably my favorite tournament play there. Ellie De La Cruz is fine if you want to pay up. Willie Adames, I think at 2,900. Dansby Swanson at 31. They're both fine. But I probably want here, unless it's a stack, I want Abrams, Henderson, or to go cheap to Ezekiel Duran. And I do like Duran more than Birdie. I probably only play Birdie in stacks.
Okay. TJ, how many likes are we at right now?
We are at 112. So 13 more before we drop the home run bets in chat.
Okay. Get us to 135. I'll tell another dad joke. The people want dad jokes today for some reason. Tim, we're moving to the outfield. Angels in the outfield. What are we doing in the outfield today?
Yeah, so Aaron Judge would be my priority spend up if you have the money. I'm not saying that you necessarily will or have to have a spend up, but if we're playing Fetty in cash, then you should have the salary to get to at least one expensive outfielder, and that for me would be Aaron Judge. I think Yordan Alvarez would be a close second to that, and then obviously you can always play Ronald Acuna. So those three are definitely my top like spend ups if you have the salary. But then obviously we could go for some cheap guys also and get over to some of these Reds. Definitely Will Benson at 2,900. I think he should be in your cash game lineup. I think Jesse Winker at 2,300. That's a really, really strong play as well. So you've got plenty of options at the high end. You've got plenty of options at the low end across the board. So, and then I also think that Mike Trout is at an interesting price point. So 3,700 doesn't seem like enough for him. So if you have the salary, like if you wanted to go like a Judge, Trout, maybe Will Benson outfield in cash, I think that's pretty strong.
Yep, sounds good. I mean, I'm with you, man. This Yankee situation could get really interesting today against a guy like France. I also really like Yordan Alvarez today for what it's worth. TJ, over to you. What are we doing in tournaments here? Plenty of options in the outfield today, as per usual, but a lot of big names. What are your thoughts there?
Judge is definitely my top option. I think I have Ronald Acuna and Yordan Alvarez kind of 2A and 2B in terms of my next favorite spend ups there, with Trout and Tucker kind of 3A and 3B in terms of spend ups. If I got to go cheaper, Will Benson, definitely the top option there. But if you're looking to get different, I think there are a couple decent ways to do so. I really like Matt Wallner today. Joey Gallo, I think, is fine. I don't know how low owned he'll be, but I think Gallo is fine. Jake Fraley is a guy I always love anytime he's facing a righty. And then Mark Canha is another guy that's been absolutely crushing. I don't think it's crazy to run a little Detroit stack against Fetty today in case he just doesn't have it. Adam Duvall batting 6th, 2,600. Absolutely fantastic tournament play today. And then finally, Marcelo Zuna at 3K. Probably my top overall tournament play on the slate in the outfield.
All right, and that wraps it up for FanDuel. And folks, listen, if you want to build really good lineups, you need to get RG Premium. I mean, there's never been a better time to sign up for RG Premium. You're getting NBA, PGA, NCAA basketball, NHL, MMA, and MLB. You're getting all of that. You can get the 6-month combo subscription at an exclusive price of $469.99. That's a savings of $250 instead of buying the 6 individual months of combo premium. You can also give combo a test run for a 3-day pass for $19.99. For those that just want to dip your toe in and test the waters, check the link in the description below. All right, folks, here we go. We're moving over to DraftKings. Tim, and I know some of these are going to be pretty similar, but one of the big differences, we all know DraftKings, we got to play 2 pitchers, no way around it. I know you mentioned Fetty, which probably makes Fetty a little stronger on DraftKings than FanDuel for some people. How are you feeling about pitcher on DraftKings?
Yeah, so I'm definitely pitching Fetty in cash, but then my next pitcher is where things get very, very murky for me. It comes down to 3 options as far as I'm considered. It's Jack Flaherty, Chris Sale, or Bailey Ober. I am personally playing Chris Sale. I do not have a lot of conviction with that. If you wanted to go a different route, like go with Ober, go with Flaherty, you certainly can. Projection systems love Jack Flaherty today. Definitely that would probably be the math play. Would be to go with Flaherty. I think I just trust Chris Sale a little bit more. So I'm going with Chris Sale. But yeah, it's definitely Fetty, and then one of those 3 options for cash game pitchers on DK.
Okay, sounds good. TJ, over to you. DK, pitching, tournaments, what do we want to do?
Yeah, so Chris Sale is going to be my highest owned guy. I reset.
Interesting.
My lineups aren't showing up. He's going to be my highest owned guy today as well, just because he has such a big upside. Like the strikeout upside is there. I don't want to be underweight. I'll basically just be at the field. Fetty is my next highest owned, and I'll probably be at the field, if not a little bit higher on him as well. But from there is when I start spreading things out. So I do have Flaherty in my pool, but he is my lowest owned play. Like I said, I'd rather get underweight on him than Fetty or Chris Sale today. Bailey Ober is my 3rd highest owned guy, trying to get to as much of him as I can. 9K, even cheaper than he is on FanDuel. Still picking up low ownership. I think he's probably the top tournament option. And then Nick Martinez and Brady Singer are the not so exciting guys that I'm getting to today. They're both cheap. Singer, not quite as much, but he's getting very low ownership. And then Nick Martinez, $6,800. I think he makes either a great pivot off of Fetty, or I think you can pair them together. And so you can do a spend up lineup with, hint, you can do it with the Atlanta Braves. It's my favorite way of doing so. So that's my kind of top core. Tyler Wells, I think, is a fantastic tournament play today. And then I have 12% Gaussman, basically just he could pitch 4 innings and strike out 8 with a 60 pitch count. Now we don't know what's 60. It could be 70. It could be 80. It could be 50.
I think he's in the 60s to 70s for sure.
I do too. I do too. That's where I'm at.
80 today. I don't think he goes past 80.
I don't think so either. But like even with 65, 70, there's a chance, he could strike out 8, give up no runs through
Well, I
4
sure hope
innings.
he doesn't. I've got it for more than 3 strikeouts in 2 innings, or for more than 2.5 strikeouts in 2 innings. So please go out there and mow this team down for me, Mr. Gausman. My pockets would appreciate it.
And so, that's absolutely something that he could do today. And you never know. Maybe he gets 82. There's a slight chance. And if that happens, I don't want to have 0%.
Gotcha.
And then the last 2 guys I'm sprinkling in, but I don't feel good about, are Tyler Megill and John Gray.
Okay. TJ, how many likes are we at so far?
We are at 122. So 3 likes away for the home run bets, and 13 likes away from another dad joke from Chief.
All right, here we go. Tim, over to you. Let's do this because we're about to come up on the slate here. Any differences in cash in general across the board for DraftKings that you might want to take a look at besides what you did on FanDuel? I know it's fairly close today, but any major differences that you want to talk about in catcher through outfield?
Yeah, so we have to play catcher on DK. So I just wanted to run through a couple cash game catchers. I think Francisco Alvarez is right up there with one of my favorites. Yanier Diaz would be another one. Tyler Stevenson, I think, is pretty interesting as well. I think that would really be it in terms of my cash game pool at catcher. In terms of like overall differences on the slate, there's nothing drastic. It's definitely, it's definitely the Twins that are popping pretty hard. And so it's kind of like, do you want to risk that pinch hit risk, or do you want to take, some of these Reds pieces? Right now, I'm just going to lean on the Reds to kind of make up for what they did yesterday. So guys like Inkins Arcion, guys like India, guys like Fraley, all these guys I'm going to be getting to in cash games. So for me, I'm really leaning on the Reds heavily in cash.
All right, sounds good. TJ, over to you. Any major differences on DraftKings for tournaments for yourself that you want to share for the people?
Yeah, so no big major differences. I think at the catcher position, I do love Ali Rutschman up top. He's somebody that I'm trying to get to a lot for tournaments. Yanier Diaz, favorite guy in the mid tier. Alvarez is another one, like Tim said, that I'd want to one-off. And then my favorite punt would be Fortes, but I'm typically the type of person that just the catcher position is whoever's in my stack.
Yeah, that's typically how I play it as well. I'm trying to make sure we don't have any questions. I am in the Discord, and we do have some questions today. So I'm going to start with those because we're about 5 minutes from lock here. So this one is coming from NBA DFS. It's going to be for you, Tim. Cash question. He has Alvarez and Winker or Trout and Julian for FanDuel cash. Alvarez, Winker, or Trout, Julian, FanDuel cash.
The Trout one.
Okay. This one is coming from Sherman's Tanks. He says Soto and Langford or Judge and Kirilloff. Soto, Langford, or Judge, Kirilloff. Not site specific. TJ.
Judge Kirilloff.
Okay. This is coming from Beaner, 1290. Favorite pitcher for a FanDuel GPP, TJ.
Bailey Ober, or if you need cheaper, Brady Singer.
Okay. Ober or Singer. There we go. And we don't have any more questions in the live stream chat. I'm scrolling up here to make sure we didn't miss any other questions. And I don't think we did. Once again, man, I'm glad you folks are enjoying the show. This was coming in from our friend of the show, Yeezy. Pick one, Ober, Sale, or Flaherty. Tim, Ober, Sale, or Flaherty?
My vote is Sale.
Yeah. Listen, if Chris Sale's right, he's a little bit too cheap right now. Like, you know what I'm saying, Tim? Like, if we get somewhere close to 2000, let's call it 2017-ish, I guess, Chris Sale, 2016, 2000. I know it's going far back. He's been hurt, feels like every season after that. If we get anything close to him, around a 30-ish% K rate, and he can stay healthy, he's going to be good. Cleveland picker coming in, Martini or Benson, straight up. Going to give this one to you, Tim, because I know you're heavy Cincinnati today. Martini or Benson, straight up.
I'm going to go back to Benson. I'm not going to chase Martini.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. TJ, how many likes are we at so far?
130. I dropped my extra home run plays in chat. It's Ronald Acuna, Zach Geloff, Lourdes Gurriel, Mookie Betts, Matt Olson, and then we are 5 likes away from another dad joke from Chief.
Well, listen, Ruthless Villain is coming in. He says, forget your likes. He's going to drop one. He said, what did the mama broom say to the baby broom? Are you sweepy? Love it, Ruthless Villain. Ruthless Villain has saved the day, TJ and Tim. Butthole Jake is coming in. Wallner, Rosario, or Cabrera, last man in. TJ, Wallner, Rosario, or Cabrera, last man in.
Wallner, Rosario. Wallner.
Okay. Listen, Ruthless Villain has bailed us out. I'm going to go ahead and give my last dad joke of this beautiful Easter Sunday. Why don't people take mountains serious? Because they are hilarious. HILLAREAS. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Love that joke. That's another dad joke for you guys. That hopefully that one made you smile. We are coming up on lock. We're 2 minutes out. Folks, if you have questions, please drop those questions. We are more than willing to get those answered, because at lock, we are all going to be rooting for some good baseball and for our tournament lineups and single entry lineups to take down first place. About 2 minutes out. TJ, anything else you want to add, generally speaking, or any insight about this particular slate?
Nope, not really. I'm happy you remind me how close we are to lock, because I am just getting in my single entry lineup still, because I had not done that yet.
Oh, man, don't you hate that? I got caught with my pants down one time building single entry. We hit lock, and I said, oh, my gosh. And I did miss out on a couple of guys that I wanted to get there. Tim, as we approach lock, anything extra you want to share with the people about the slate?
No, and just enjoy your day. Like I said before, tons of great sports action. We got a night race for NASCAR, so make sure you are hitting up Stevie in Stevie's NASCAR package.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am about to hang out. So what I do is I lurk, Tim. I don't really talk a lot in the NASCAR channel. I just kind of peek, right? And I gather information, learn things, read Stevie stuff. Then I get in lineup HQ, build some lineups, and then I pop in, while the race is going on, and hope that by the time all these laps are done, I am somewhere near the top, possibly in first place. Folks, thank you so much for joining us on a beautiful Easter Sunday. I'm Will. That's Tim. That's TJ. It's been TWT action on the weekend. We'll see you next week.